In this video, I'd like to share some of my favourite quotes that have really changed how I think about the guitar and music in general. Let's start with this one from Joe Pass.
You can't think and play. If you think about what you're playing, the playing does become stilted. You have to just focus on the music, I feel. Concentrate on the music, focus on what you're playing, and just let the playing come out. Once you start thinking about doing this or playing that, it's not good.
So this quote is one of my favourites. It really sums up improvisation in general, I think, for most musicians, because one of the questions that a lot of new students always ask is, what do you think about when you're playing? But as Joe said, not many of us really think. Improvisation and music is really just a reactionary process. Our ears actually can transmit information quicker than our brain and our eyes. So when we're improvising, we're just reacting and hearing to what's going on around us. And I think that that quote by Joe Pass sums up that process better than I ever could. So let's move on to the second quote. The next two quotes are basically both saying the same thing. So I'm going to share these quotes with you now, then discuss them. What I think both Thelonious Monk and Lenny Breau were trying to say in these quotes were that the silence that you leave in your music, in your improvisation, is just as important as what you do play. It's quite easy, especially as guitar players, to just play a bunch of notes and keep on playing without ever taking a breath. But what both of these guys are saying is that you need to leave silence and space in your music to make the notes that you do play count. The next quote is by George Benson, and it goes, "The blues is like street music. It's the language of the street." So as most of you probably know, I'm a big fan of blues, and I really like this quote. For me, I completely agree with George Benson here. Most of my favourite jazz musicians have a strong element of blues in their playing. Kenny Burrell, Grant Green, Lee Morgan, George Benson, all combine blues with playing bebop. And I think what George Benson's trying to say here is that if you include some blues in your playing, it will be more relatable to other people. If you just play jazz lines and bebop all the time, that's great, but the blues makes what you play more relatable. And really, any great jazz musician that you ever meet and play with will have a tremendous respect for the blues, and they'll often be great blues improvisers as well. This Segovia quote to me sums up arranging on the guitar. Barney Cassell has often shared similar quotes to this, and that really describes how solo arranging should be. As guitar players, we can often get bogged down with all the techniques that make up solo arranging. Drop two chords, chord melody, contra motion. It's all great and we need to study all of that. But fundamentally, the guitar produces sounds, and if you think of the sounds that the guitar can produce as being like an orchestra, that could possibly change how you might think about arranging a tune. So that Dexter Gordon quote to me is the ultimate quote when it comes to how to learn a jazz standard. If you've never seen the film about Dexter Gordon, it's worth a watch. There's a scene in it where basically Dexter Gordon is asked to play a song, but he refuses to play the song because even though he knows how to play it on his horn, he doesn't know the lyrics. This speaks volumes to me, because even if you know the melody to a song on the guitar, if you don't know the lyrics or what the song's about, then you're not really playing a song. So the lesson here is to really try and learn the lyrics to any Broadway jazz standard that you learn. Obviously, not all songs have lyrics, but most of the 20s and 30s real book tunes will have lyrics that you should at least have a listen to and ideally learn. So if you've just heard that quote and that's resonated with you, don't worry, you're definitely not alone. There's been an abundance of times where I've intended to sit down and practice something, and I picked up a guitar, started jamming some blues, 45 minutes have gone by, and the thing that I originally wanted to practice hasn't happened. Don't worry, you're not alone. What Herb Ellis is saying here is that if there's anything that you need to practice, do it at the start. Just pick up your guitar, don't even think about anything else, start doing it. As Herb says, these things might even be distasteful to you, but if you do them first and get them done, then you can relax and start playing. That is much easier said than done, but even if you do that 50% of the time, if all you do now is pick up the guitar and noodle, then you're going to start progressing. So that concludes the list of my favourite quotes that have been useful to me over the years. What I'd like to know is, what is your favourite quote? Please share it in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video and you want more videos like this, then please subscribe to this channel.